Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I love page tabs. And I've been working on another set of hidden page tabs. I sell a lot of these just regular page tabs in my Etsy shop where you would come in and glue on each side and attach it to your book like that by gluing or using some tape runner. But I wanted to make some of these Kraft ones that I could just pull out. So that's what these are. They're just hidden ones that you can just pull in and out and move them around. I use these a lot in my homeschool with my teacher keys. I'll put these from chapter to chapter as we move, and it's a little easier than just a bookmark. And of course it looks a lot cuter when we're scrapbooking or junk journaling. And I've made some of these similar to this in a previous video, but I wanted to make some with just the Kraft cardstock because I love the look of that with the antiquing edging on the ends. So I've done a bunch of those. I'll pull those out here in the back. And as you can see, each one has a little strip of washi tape going across it. And then I decided that I wanted to make some with a colored bottom. So I did just a few, and it's the same one on both sides, that just have a designer paper bottom. And here's one more over here. So these are really quick, easy to make, and they just really pretty up your journal. Or of course, like I said, you can use these as regular bookmarks and move them around where you want to. So let me show you super quick how I do that. I'll move those up to the top out of the way. I've cut two little rectangles out. This one is 2 inches by 2.5 inches. That's going to be our inside piece. And our outside piece is 2 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So this one's going to be our outside piece. So the first thing I want to do is fold both of these in half. Okay, that and that. This comes together so quick and easy. And then I'm just going to crease those down real quick. And then I want the edges to be inked. And I also, if you notice, I have them rounded here. So I'm going to round them first, just on all 4 corners. And this is just going to be my bottom part. We'll do that first, and then I'll show you how I make the page, the topper for it. Okay, so I've got my inside, my outside, and so to do my topper part, I use this. It's by Spellbounders, and it's just a bunch of different tabs that you can put through your die cutting machine and roll through that. So then when I'm done, I'm just left with these. So I'm going to fold this in half. Whoops, a couple there. We'll fold that in half. And then that's going to be my topper for these. And then I'm going to use, because I like the edges darkened up, I'm just going to use some Distress ink by Tim Holtz. And this is in the walnut stain. I've just got an old sponge that I use for this. And I'm just going to go around the edges super quick. And I'm going to do the same for both of these, and the reason I'm doing it, even though the smaller one is going to be hidden, is just in case it pokes through, and as you have it upside down you can kind of see it a little bit, but of course you don't have to do the inside. Okay, and the other piece here. Okay, and I think that will be good. Got all 4 sides. So then the next thing I do is let me clean this off so I don't get stuff everywhere. Okay, I just use these little small paper clips. This is just the #1 size. If you want to use bigger paper clips, then you would just extend the length of your inside piece. So I've got an inside piece and an outside piece. I'm going to put on my inside shorter piece, put the paper clip right in the middle, and slide that on. And then so what's going to happen is this inner side piece is going to go in here. That's going to glue together, so then you're left with an opening in there that you can put your paper. I don't know if you can see that too well. The shadows in here are terrible this morning. But then you slide your sheet, you slide your sheet page inside of that. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me bring over a little bit of glue paper. I've got some tacky glue here, and then I've just got some Elmer's stick glue. And I'm going to use both of these. So the first thing I'm going to do is put glue all over this piece. And I'm going to be pretty generous with this again because I want this to really stick well. And then, just on this piece, I'm going to use my tacky glue. Pop that off, and I'm just going to put it on the metal part. I find if I use all wet glue on this, then the cardstock just gets a little more wonky than I want it to be. You know, it has more movement, but of course you can do that too if you're good at using that wet glue. I'm not always real great at it. So, okay, next goes there, and I'm just going to fold that over and hold that down a little bit. Okay, and while that's drying for a second, I just want to show you, you would do the same thing if you wanted to make some of these with the colored bottoms. You would do the exact same thing. And you would just fold these over. The inside piece is 2 by 2.5, and the outside piece is 2 by 2 3/4. And then you would follow that same, you know, the same thing again. And we can just do that real quick. I'll snip the edges on these. And because I am using the same topper on these, I kind of like it to go ahead and shade the edges on these as well. So let's do that super quick while that piece is drying. I'll touch these real quick. These come together so fast. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to put a paper clip. Grab one out of my box here, right in the center. And then we have this piece, which I'm going to glue first. With my stick glue. Use the tacky glue to go just along the middle. And then layer it in there. Now sometimes if this doesn't line up exactly perfect, and it's not always going to do that, but if it doesn't, you can for sure come along the edges and just use a pair of scissors, like if you need to. Looks like this one all came together pretty good. So I'm not going to worry about that at all. So the next thing I'm going to do is just put some glue on both sides of this tab. I'm going to line up the tops. And again, if they don't line up perfectly, it's okay. I might have cut it just a itty bit of a centimeter too much, and all we'll do is just trim down our sides a little bit to make it match well. I'm trying to match this, if you can tell, right at the top, so I don't have to trim a whole lot. And this one I am going to have to trim some, but that's okay. I can do that here. See where I've got just a little bit hanging off? All I'm going to do is run my scissors right along that and spiffy that up. That side looks pretty good. Come along this side. Okay, and because I took off a little bit of that brown, I'm just going to come back in and ink it a wee bit. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's finish up this other brown one. And I like the look of both of these. The one thing that's kind of fun about these plain ones, I cut that a little bit too long too. But that just happens sometimes and it's okay. We will trim it down. Just kind of working it between my fingers until it sticks well. And again, just a little trim. A little more ink. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good with that one. So what I want to do now, this is a good place that you can come and use your these thin little washi tapes. You know how sometimes we have a lot of those. Let's see, I'm going to grab a couple more here. Just grab a few out here. I think I'm going to use this one on this. The coloring would look nice, I think. And I'm just going to run it right across that line. Of course, you don't have to do that, but I think it spiffies it up just a little bit. Then I'm just going to trim it with my scissors. And then for this one, let's use this gold here. That's kind of pretty. Whoop. Didn't hold that one down enough. It's wanting to pop up a little bit on me. I think that gold is pretty. Okay, and then we'll just trim this one up. And that is it, folks. These are just a really fun project to make. If you end up making them, let me know. I'd love to know in the comments. So thanks for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.